You've been in that meeting, the long one. Too many chairs, too many voices, everyone nodding, everyone aligned. And somehow, by the end, nothing real has been said, nothing sharp has been decided, and when you leave the room, you feel lighter, not relieved, unburdened, because some quiet part of you knows the truth. You didn't give it your full strength, and neither did anyone else. You felt it the moment responsibility dissolved into the room, the moment effort stopped being traceable, the moment your contribution could hide inside the group. That's the trap. Not laziness in the childish sense, not incompetence, but a rational withdrawal of force. When your output can't be seen, measured, or clearly tied back to you, your nervous system does the math without asking permission. Why push at 100% when 50 will pass unnoticed? You don't announce this decision to yourself. You just soften. You speak a little less clearly. You wait a little longer to jump in. You let someone else finish the thought you could have sharpened. And suddenly, effort becomes optional. This is the unspoken rule nobody likes to say out loud. Groups don't dilute stupidity first. They dilute responsibility. When you're alone, every mistake has your name on it. Every win, too. But inside a group, blame spreads thin, like fog. So does credit. And when both are blurred, intensity drops. Not to zero. Never to zero. Because total withdrawal would be noticed, and noticed means punished. So you hover just above the danger line, active enough not to be exposed, passive enough not to be exhausted. Evolution trained you for this. Long before offices and boards and brainstorming sessions, your survival depended on knowing exactly how much you could get away with. Too little effort, you're expelled. Too much effort, you're exploited. So you calibrate. The problem isn't that teams make people worse, it's that they make people invisible. And invisibility changes behavior. Watch what happens in a relay race. One runner, one lane, one moment. No hiding, no diffusion. Performance spikes. Now watch what happens in a room of 20 people collaborating. Energy drains sideways. Attention leaks. And after a certain size, it doesn't even get worse anymore. It just flatlines. Maximum inertia reached. That's why big groups love big risks. When consequences arrive, they don't arrive with a finger pointing. They arrive as a report, a process, a collective decision. Nobody says, "I chose this." They say, "We agreed." And we is the safest hiding place there is. You see it in companies, in committees, in institutions that make decisions no individual would dare make alone. Risk grows where accountability thins. This is where people get confused. They hear teamwork and imagine synergy, but synergy only exists when difference is sharp and visible. Small teams, clear roles, unequal skills, distinct ownership. When everyone is specialized, effort becomes legible again. You can't hide behind general effort if you're the only one who knows how that part works. That's the part nobody advertises. Teams don't work because people are noble. They work when structure removes the option to disappear. And here's the part you need to internalize, because it's uncomfortable. If you rely on being liked, you will accept invisibility. If you rely on clarity, you will reject it. The move isn't to demand more from the group. Groups don't respond to demands. They respond to design. You don't speak more. You speak precisely. You don't volunteer for everything. You take ownership of something specific enough that absence would be obvious. You don't argue in the noise. You make your contribution traceable. Less words than you want to use. More definition than feels polite. And when decisions are made, you don't hide behind "we." You know exactly where you stand, and you let that be known, because the moment your effort becomes visible, the calculus changes. For you, and for everyone watching. In groups, people don't rise to ideals. They sink to incentives. Once you see that, you stop being disappointed by teams, and you stop dissolving inside them. You either become distinct or you become background. And once you see this clearly, you stop trying to fix teams from the outside. You stop hoping culture will save you. You stop waiting for alignment. You stop mistaking motion for progress. Instead, you play a quieter game. You decide in advance where you will be counted and where you will be absent. You don't attend everything. Presence is not free. It creates expectations, and expectations invite extraction. You show up where your absence would be felt, not where your presence would be absorbed. You don't distribute your effort evenly. That's what the system expects, and it's how the system neutralizes you. You concentrate force. One domain, one responsibility, one outcome that has a clear owner, your name attached whether it succeeds or fails. That's how you escape dilution. You also learn to delay contribution, not out of ego, out of strategy. The first person to speak sets the ceiling. The room unconsciously calibrates around them. If you speak too early, you give others something to lean on. So you wait. You listen. You let the noise exhaust itself. And when you speak, you don't add volume. You add resolution. Short, clean, difficult to ignore. You stop rescuing vague thinking. You let poorly formed ideas sit in their discomfort. Because every time you help too quickly, you teach the group that clarity is optional and that someone else will carry the weight. You don't correct everyone. You correct records, emails, decisions, summaries, commitments. The written trail matters more than the conversation. That's where accountability lives. And when consensus forms too easily, that's when you get suspicious. Easy agreement usually means nobody is exposed yet. So you ask the one question that changes the room. Who owns this if it fails? Silence follows. That silence is information. You don't fight it, you let it work. Because the real shift happens when people realize you are not playing the same game they are. You're not there to blend. You're not there to perform participation. You're there to be legible, and legibility is power. Over time, something subtle changes. People stop assigning you vague tasks. They stop burying you in committees. They either give you something real, or they leave you alone. Both are wins. This is how you stay sharp inside groups without becoming cynical. This is how you contribute without being consumed. This is how you avoid becoming another competent ghost in a crowded room. You don't outwork the system. You outdefine yourself within it. And once you do that, teams stop making you lazy. Because laziness was never the flaw. Invisibility was.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.